Hello, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor.
Morning, everybody. All right, so I guess we're ready to go. We'll call this meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. I just want to first start and thank everybody for the great report that was given at our biannual presentation or meeting to our chairs. I think that as all of you reported, I'm sure you felt the sort of sense of active engagement, the accomplishment, but also the tremendous work that is ahead for all of us. And I just want to, of course, again, appreciate everything that's going on. It continues to be a dynamic time. I would just say that we have our eyes right now on the two congressional movements right now that are going to, in different ways, perhaps give us some aid and support. Although they're not reconciled, I'm talking about the infrastructure bill, of course, and then the other Build Back Better agenda piece that focuses on working families and the environment. There's going to be tremendous opportunities no matter what ahead of us. So the kind of work and collaboration that we're all doing right now is kind of really streamlining and helping us be definitely prepared to pursue a lot of the opportunities coming our way. The other thing I'd like to say is a lot of the collaboration we're doing right now is being reflected throughout the region. And as you might know from the biannual meeting, green growth movements are being organized and being launched elsewhere in the region. This is an excellent thing that has happened. And the last thing I want to point out is Senator Carlota Leon Guerrero has been designated by our administration to be our climate change lead. And of course, you might recall that she has an excellent network that has been longstanding in her work, not only in the region, but in the world. Everything from the shark sanctuary movement that has occurred, and then of course, working closely in some international committees, including with the United States climate change lead, Senator John Kerry, who has served with Senator Carlota on some other engagements. So things are good. I want to thank each one of the leads. And of course, I also am very proud of the work of the University of Guam. Last week, the University of Guam Sea Grant program was under a review, a formal review for it to increase its status and on its path to becoming a recognized educational institution to have a fully supported and active Sea Grant program. And one of the points that I made, along with some others, I think, was what a unique opportunity it is for the United States to have a full-fledged Sea Grant program in the Western Pacific that's able to motivate and encourage and coordinate work with all of the freely associated states and the rest of the countries in this region as we're right here on the border or sometimes within the border of Asia. So there are a lot of great, exciting opportunities. Thank you to the University of Guam. Thank you, Dr. Shelton and Lauren and Kyle and the rest of the team for some great work. But we have quite a ways to go. So I'll pass it on to Dr. Shelton.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor, and thanks for mentioning our work on the Sea Grant institutional status review. It went very well last week. They shared the preliminary findings with us that the review team will be recommending to the National Sea Grant Advisory Board that we graduate to institutional status, which means we will be able to bring more capacity and resources to our island region for the betterment of our coastal resources. So thank you very much to all the steering committee members here that were participating in our review along the way. We have Senator Carlota and also Ms. Vanji Lujan as our chair and vice chair of our Sea Grant Advisory Committee, and many other, and also Senator Regine Bisco-Lee is on our advisory committee. And we had a few speakers, including Mel and others that joined us for that 2-week review. The update that I'd like to give, I'm just going to show a few pictures of what we've been doing since our biannual meeting last month. Just give me a moment to pull this up. Okay, I'll start with progress on the Guam Green Growth Conservation Corps, which I believe all of our steering committee members know, and just to let the public know that may be watching, our G3 Conservation Corps program started in June of this year to be a workforce development program to prepare our community for the emerging green economy. So we've had our 12 members actively working in agriculture, aquaculture, energy efficiency, removal of invasive species, and then they bring volunteers with them along the way to get the word out and the training out on these different topics. And so these are pictures from our weekly cleanup. This is an activity every Friday morning that we start in a new village. And as you can see, we've been making our way through almost every village on the island, and we have just a few more left in as we conclude this program, the first cohort of the Conservation Corps on November 19th next month. But if you are interested in joining these really fun island beautification events that deal with some trash pickup and also sometimes painting or doing other island beautification needs of the host village that week, this Friday at 8 o'clock, we'll be meeting at the Jotnia Mayor's office. And so you will just fill out a liability form when you get there and get to interact with the Conservation Corps as they lead you through the different sites in the village identified by the village mayor. Next month, when we have the graduation event at the front lawn there in the Governor's Complex in Adelup, we will have more information on the overall impact of the program. There's been thousands of volunteer hours. I think one other big highlight is that we've diverted over 50,000 aluminum cans from the landfill and into the recycling stream, planted thousands of trees and so much more. So we're excited to share all of those impact numbers with you soon. At the G3 Community Garden, things continue to grow and it's going well. There was a month-long Sustainable September activity where our implementation partner, Guahan Sustainable Culture, and the AmeriCorps Guahan Sustainable Culture brought members of our community into the garden to do several different activities. And you really have to check out how things are growing. The sunflowers are up and it's calling people in to come walk around the community garden. We're hearing lots of great things about it. So if you have a chance to park or walk over right across from the Hagåtña post office, see how the community garden is doing and check how you can get involved. And so we mentioned when we first did the ground raising event back in August that we're hoping that this will serve as a beacon of education and outreach for creating more of these community gardens around the island and serve as a demonstration for food security in our island. And so we've got our first request to help with an expansion of this activity. And we will be partnering with first the village of Talefofo. We have the mayor, Taitagui, and our AmeriCorps Serve Guam Commission has asked us to assist them with their community center in the village of Talefofo, where they will start to build some raised beds and do some very interesting aquaponics work. So just to tie into the aquaponics work, they have done something very innovative that they're getting started here to turn these abandoned white goods like refrigerators and freezers into working aquaponic systems. So this could be a really great circular economy solution to increase food security and to reduce some of the illegal dumping and other problems that we're seeing on the island. So a really great sustainability solution that we will tie into the aquaponics and aquaculture education program that we have going on with our Sea Grant program here at UOG. And finally, I just wanted to announce two upcoming capacity building opportunities for any of our Islander students who would like to get more involved in STEM. Any undergraduates out there that might be listening, we have 2 year-long fellowships, one for our National Science Foundation Includes program and one for the Guam EPSCoR program. I believe between them we'll have at least a dozen opportunities where students can receive a $500 monthly stipend and be paired with a research faculty member here at the University of Guam to do work in environmental science, marine biology, botany, ecology, social sciences, sustainability. Some positions will be down at the Marine Lab, some on upper campus with the Center for Island Sustainability. So I invite anybody who is interested in these opportunities or knows somebody to share it with to go to our Center for Island Sustainability or EPSCoR social media pages to find these announcements. Okay, and so that's my update. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor.
All right, thank you, Austin. Lauren, would you like to facilitate this next round?
Sure, Lieutenant Governor, thank you. So before we get to the team leads, I'd like to just give a couple updates. I'm preparing the digital document for the third version of the G3 action framework to incorporate all the updates that were presented during the last biannual meeting in September. And this will just be a digital document. We won't print this one. Our goal is to only print once a year, but make the digital copy available. And so I will not only prepare this document, but I will highlight the specific updates so it's easier for review for the working group members. One thing that's very exciting that's coming up is that our G3 island beautification and recycling bins have arrived on Guam. They're currently at the DPW compound. We are just waiting for the design of our decals so we could start putting them into the villages. And the waste bins that we'll put in the parks as well will be ready to ship by the end of the month. So we have our recycling project almost ready to be underway. So that's very exciting. So a big shout out to our partners in Saipan, the Mariana Islands Nature Alliance, JMC Ironworks who fabricated the bins, Matson for getting it shipped to Guam, and the port for delivering the bins to DPW and DPW for storing it. So this is a great big community effort and we could not have done it alone. So I like to ensure that they all get recognized for their amazing contributions. And besides that, I've been supporting the G3 Youth Ambassadors and with some of their upcoming trajectory. So Kyle Dahilig will be presenting or will be giving an update shortly. And Rita Bernardo, our associate coordinator, she has been working really hard on the dashboard expansion. And I'm really excited for everyone to see the hard work she's put into it at the end of the, towards the end of this meeting. So that's really all from me. Does anyone have any questions specifically for me before we get into the team lead updates?
Hi, this is Carlotta Leon Guerrero. I have a question about you saying digital updates for the biennial reports are going to soon become available. I'm very interested in this. As the Lieutenant Governor was saying that I'm plugged into Interior. And so the last that I gave them was from the biennial meeting. So this is an update of those projects and accomplishments since the biennial meeting.
Thank you for the question. The biannual meeting report, digital copy that you got, that was the presentation from that meeting. But the digital copy I'm working on will be an update to the action framework document. So that's just a little more details. It has the outline of the working document and the focus areas of all the working group teams and our methodology. There is a copy of the current version on the G3 website. So I can make that available to you immediately. I could email that to you. It's already available on the website, just so you could review that.
Thank you very much. And I think just a real quick update would be that I have connected with the Office of Interior, Betsy, and her team on climate change matters. And they're looking for projects that need funding and need help and need to get off the ground or are already going. So the very first thing that I brought their attention to were 2 projects, grant applications to OIA that didn't get approved. And so that if they are looking for projects from us. And then I lined up Dr. Austin Shelton and Vanjie to be with me on these weekly meetings that we're going to start having. And also I talked with Dr. Shelton and he gave me the links, he gave me everything, and I sent it up to OIA, to Betsy and her team. And I think she wrote back that they were just simply overwhelmed and just so appreciating the details. So I hope that they can connect directly to you and not have to go through me on getting these updates and information. That's the connection that would be the fastest and I would hope for.
Sure. So I will work on getting Betsy's contact information. I could send her those documents.
Mhm.
And then maybe maybe we could figure out how she could better connect with the Thriving Natural Resources team in the working group, because they're focused on climate action.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring to your attention what Dr. Shelton Vanjie and I will be putting together with Interior.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so first on the list, do we have an update from the Healthy and Prosperous Communities team?
Happening. What was reported last week, I think, or at the biannual meeting was pretty up to the minute. About the only report, the update that we have is that, or at least Lola might add if she has anything to add, I'm not sure. But we have not had a meeting. One recent addition is that we submitted a US EDA Build Back Better regional grant application for an aquaculture innovation center. And so the idea is that Guam will help in closing the loop with regard to certain aquaculture products having to do with marine ornamentals, food, as well as coral reef as well as reef conservation. And so Guam would become the place of R&D, as well as being able to get products out, different kinds of products, so quality over quantity. So it's not likely Guam will become the tilapia hub of the universe. You know, instead, we might do an experiment on how to scale the. So in Pohnpei, for example, they're doing an aquaculture project having to do with farming rabbitfish. So in Guam, part of the grant is to assess the possibility of setting up a transshipment type of hub at the Guam Airport Authority. And so we submitted it on Friday. It's $500,000 grant to plan for the big money, which is 25 million to 100 million, which would be crazy if we got that. But that's what we're doing. Lola, I don't know if Lola's on. If Lola has anything to add?
Lola's not on right now.
May I jump in right there just to add to Mel? I forgot to mention this, but Mel and I connected last week or the week before on the EDA Build Back Better proposals, and we also submitted a second one in partnership with partners in Hawaii and Alaska to do a larger regional challenge possibly, and this would be to create an indigenous Pacific climate innovation and community equity cluster. And so there's a lot of expertise in these in Hawaii and Alaska on turning climate change innovation into new economic development through venture capital and business startup type projects. So we look forward to that partnership if this one's awarded to also plan. So I just wanted to mention that lots of big things to come if one or both of these Build Back Better proposals get funded.
If I could add to this also is that I worked with Gita on getting a letter of support from the president of the Micronesian Island Forum, who's the current governor of Chuuk. And that was to add to the grant documents that would showcase the regional reach of the projects. And I really like that focus of what the GITA grant is and the way that they wrote it. It made it really easy to move it out fast and get support when anybody that read through that document could see the regional focus and development and inclusion and taking in their priorities to help develop where it's going to go. So that was I just like everybody to know how we all work together sometimes, our networks. And so that was great. I always enjoy working with GITA.
We think that thank you. I forgot to mention that actually, Senator, and we believe that is really going to be give the competitive edge to our application.
I agree.
Is the presence of the buy-in of the Micronesian chiefs in this particular project.
I agree.
Thank you all for contributing to that update. Everything sounds great when it comes to what's on the horizon for EDA. Now we could give time to Educated, Capable, Compassionate Island update. Senator Regine, would you like to provide an update?
Hafaday Lauren, Hafaday LT, and Dr. Shelton, and all of our partners. Dr. Okada is currently off island and in a meeting right now, so she's unable to join us, but I believe that Dr. Lonnie Brennan might pop in if she's not on already. I just wanted to give a brief update. I know we covered a lot of ground during the biannual meeting, so a lot of the work that our committee has done and already updated kind of still stands, but I did want to just focus on some emerging opportunities. Our committee continues to seek funding opportunities, such as developing environmental literacy programs to really support development on resiliency, and SAMHSA funding to train our educators. We're also focusing on strengthening the IT infrastructure throughout the island through ESF funding. So there are a bunch of funding opportunities and grant opportunities that our committee is focused on providing information for. We also took a look at the G3 dashboard. And so in our next committee meeting, we're going to work to update a lot of the information on our G3 dashboard to include additional metrics. I know that there's a lot of measuring still going on. So we're looking forward to having those conversations during our next committee meeting. And so I'm not sure if Director Lonnie Brennan is on and has anything else to add, but that's pretty much my update for today. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Regine. Yes.
Lauren, let me just also interject, and this is kind of crossing between Senator Regine's area and Mel's area. There is, GITA is going to be taking up the mantle of helping public health do outreach with all of the early childhood development centers or daycare centers, pushing out some of the federal aid that's out there. So I just wanted to bookmark that. That's an active effort. Basically, the goal is to try and expand childcare services to the population, but also to provide additional resources to all of the childcare centers that are enrolled in the public health program with all of the children that are currently eligible. So just wanted to bookmark. That's a big, actually, that's going to be a big spend that will be coming out, and both committees probably have interest in that.
Can I ask the Lieutenant Governor on the push out to the daycares, and can it be in the form of like playground equipment for children with special disabilities and needs, that we can really pay some attention to that population?
No, absolutely. So those are both priorities. And by the way, the child care funds also cover children with disabilities up to age 19. So there are multiple tracks. And I believe that what we're looking at is going to be a grant program going through GITA that is in which the eligible applicants will be the child care development centers. That's one aspect. But there's also some other programs. And I'll just say from the governor's education assistance and youth empowerment program, there's several $1 million that is heading over to help families with special needs. So for example, one of the largest grants is going to Hunter Speaks so that they can bring in some training so that the families can help with the downtime, focus on the education and development of their kids. So it's meant to kind of lay a lot of
I'm
foundation.
glad.
There's also another group, and Stephanie, that's the other, the Guam, is it ACT, the ACT group?
Autism Community Together.
Right, so they also have a grant for some things. We're trying to make sure that they're able to get that off the ground, but also making them know that they're eligible to try and bring
Yes.
some services. So, you know, especially we're looking at programs when the kids are not in school, because, you know, that's when they have all the supports, and trying to make sure that we have some opportunities, not even for respite care, weekend activities, after school activities. So you're right. And I think there's multiple pots within this child care development block grant that are going to be pushed to those. But I thank you very much for mentioning that.
Right, thank you. And next, for sustainable homes, utilities, and transportation, we have Director Rebecca Respicio.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. Thanks, Lauren. So basically, the updates that we provided at the biannual meeting do still remain the same. That's as updated as we are. But Vince was going to ask me to just share with everybody that the bins are at DPW, but Lauren already provided that information. So he's really excited and happy. And then just on a side note, because it's not necessarily with our sustainable huts, but it is pertinent and does have to do with G3 initiatives. Our Energy Smart Schools Conference is going to be virtual. This is with our Guam Energy Office in partnership with Guam Power Authority. The Energy Smart Schools Conference will be on November 17. I will make sure, Lauren, that I send you the information so that you can disseminate it out, because it is going to be virtual, and we'll also be live streaming it. Everybody's welcome to participate. Particularly, the audience is going to be all of the schools on island. We're hoping that the principals or administrators, or even any of their faculty that's highly involved with helping to bring down their energy consumption at the school levels and at their facilities, will be on it. We do have 4 private schools that receive their full energy audits already. And so they'll be sharing their energy management plans and the steps that they took to develop it. So I'm glad that the discussion was recently brought up about childhood development centers, because although they're not full-fledged schools like the schools that did receive the audit, we will send out the invitation for them to participate and be part of it, so that they can learn how to actually maybe implement or develop their own energy management plans within their small scale facilities. Because you can actually make some changes even without receiving a full energy audit. And part of what will also be discussed is how a few years ago, the public schools did receive full energy audits. And so, like, what can they do with that now? Even though it's some time has passed, there's still a lot of things that they can do at very low cost to make some changes within their facilities. So I'll reach out to you. And also, just a heads up, I'm also asking Dr. Shelton to say a few words regarding G3 and how we can tie it in to those initiatives. So I'll give you the details on that. And then, Lieutenant Governor, you're going to be giving closing remarks, and we'll probably pre-record it if it doesn't sit with your schedule, but all of the information will be headed your way. If not by the end of today, by tomorrow. Okay, so while I have you attentive.
Okay.
And we just finalized our agenda yesterday. PBS will be helping us to make all of this possible virtually. So we're really happy to have our partners within our own agencies. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. I did see that Director Lonnie Brennan has joined us. Director Brennan, we already did the Educated, Capable, Compassionate Island update, but Senator Regine said that maybe you wanted to provide some updates as well.
Virtual pieces for a child. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you. Actually, I didn't hear what the senator had to say, but I do know that there were quite a lot of accomplishments. I don't know if she mentioned the fact that the governor's ESF funding is going to provide for many activities involved with youth development. And additionally, there were great strides in with a correctional differential pay for law enforcement officers that work for the Department of Corrections, as well as the Department of Youth Affairs. Senator, did you mention the
I did mention that we were working on ESF funding, but thanks for the additional detail. I think that's helpful for everyone.
Okay, sorry I joined you folks late.
No, no problem. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I think that's it for additionally, there is a lot of progress with the child welfare system. The Department of Youth Affairs has been working with Child Protective Service since late January of this year, and we've onboarded 16 warm bodies to assist with Child Protective Services, and making some real progress here.
Great, thank you, Director Brennan. Now we will move on to the Thriving Natural Resources team update, and we have Ms. Vanjie Lujan.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Unfortunately, Fran is not able to make it today, so she sends her regrets. But one of the things that I wanted to feature about the update for this month was that we're really trying to address climate literacy. And so Dr. Mark Lander has applied. He's with the Marine Lab, UOG's Marine Lab. He's applied for a grant to develop material about Guam's climate specific, so how it will relate to climate change in the future, but what he has learned over the last 40 years about Guam's climate. He does do a lot of work on the impacts of rainfall on Guam, and he does participate a lot on some issues related to the different types of storms that occur on Guam. So he has applied to a grant from PICAST to develop that, and I think that would really help us, especially in the future, getting his personal knowledge about Guam's climate, but also about the climate of the region. Dr. Romina King and I also met with the University of Hawaii Institute of Sustainability and Resiliency in partnership to develop a island climate literacy for the region. They are working on trying to create criteria for developing certifications, but also related to climate change, but also they would like to try to start within the University of Hawaii a PhD program in climate change, for example. And so we've been working with them in terms of expressing our concerns and some of the experiences that we've had here in the region. And then they will be developing, and we'll share that information with climate change, island climate change literacy for teachers as part of their project. And so that's about it. I'm sure we'll have a lot more. I wanted to mention that we're working with the University of Guam's School of Engineering, and they are looking at 3 areas where flooding is occurring using green infrastructure. And so it's quite inexpensive. And so I'm going to be seeking some funding to address that. They have come up with this year they'll be designing it, and they expect that the installation in the 3 areas around Jigo McDonald's and then 2 other areas in some neighborhoods, but a mere $100,000 for 3 areas. So I'll be looking for some funding and grant opportunities to do the installation using bioswales and rain gardens.
So Vanjie, can you please do me a favor and give that project profile over to Stephanie Flores?
Okay, great.
So we could activate the clearinghouse to try and look for different opportunities. We'll game that.
I think that I was quite surprised at relatively small cost to address flooding. I mean, it's not going in and putting in a storm drain, but it's certainly going to, especially in the north where its percolation is very quick. You know, it's like a more advanced form of a ponding basin, except that it allows for percolation. So I will give that information.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, maybe what we'll do too, if we need to have a meeting with Public Works on this one, because you know, we're going out there and the Village Streets projects has restarted, thankfully. It was delayed for 2 months because of rain and all of the demands on the military schedule, right? But there's a tremendous amount of projects. I mean, Barragata, for example, has a lot of issues, Santa Rita. So why don't we go ahead and maybe we can schedule something offline so we can understand more the pilot projects, the technology, and see if we can incorporate that into that funding side also.
Excellent.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I
so
think
much.
that's very important.
Yes, thank you.
If I could just add to this conversation, one of these odd facts that I know from years of putting grant proposals together is that there are 88 ponding basins on Guam, and most of them are up north. And so they've been a big, they've been on my radar screen for a long time. So I'm glad to see any attention being given to them.
Okay, thank you. We'll work on this, Carlotta. You'll be amazed.
I know.
Thank you.
Great news. Okay, so next we have an update from the Sustainable Alliances team, and we have Trina Leberer.
Thanks, Lauren, and Hafaday all, Hafaday Lieutenant Governor. There isn't much to report from the update from the biannual meeting, but we did have our standing call last week. And one of the areas we focused on is trying to secure research support from the university to help Dr. Ken Cooper and Melvin to complete some of the action items that we have listed in our framework, and including the Regional International Organizations report to see what organizations Guam is a part of and what we're not, and how we might have pathways to engage more in regional and global organizations. That's primarily the update, although I will flag that I was honored to be on one of the panels for the institutional review for the University of Guam Sea Grant with some of our other key partners in the Sustainable Alliance, including the Global Island Partnership. Kate Brown was there, and some other folks that, and certainly the value that the Guam Green Growth initiative it brings to the region and globally was well recognized and certainly celebrated. So just thought I'd flag that as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Trina. And we don't currently have any of the chairs from the Data and Public Engagement team present. But Kyle Mandapat, would you like to give a quick update on any communications for G3?
Sure. Half a day, everyone, and happy Wednesday. We're moving along with several of our plans. In fact, we are going to be reaching out to many of you, along with other members of the steering committee and our working groups, as we update our website some more and really try to encapsulate everything that everyone's working on, just to keep everyone updated. At the same time, we've got some projects that we're putting together, and then we'll pitch to you, of course, in regards to some usage of the digital space and some implementation projects and ways that we can showcase those as well. Other than that, I know that we've got a meeting coming up real soon, and we will update you after that one.
Thank you, Kyle. And next, we'll have an update from the G3 Youth Ambassadors. Kyle DeHelig.
Okay, half a day's Manana Sizuis. I have two updates from our team. And so Lauren and the Guam Green Growth Youth Ambassador Group have designed a project proposal template that you guys can see over here. And this will help guide us on new projects and activities that we want to host, as well as building some of our grant writing skills and documentation. So this is a project that is going to be, when projects are going to be implemented by Guam Green Growth Youth Ambassadors, we'll be submitting this proposal. I'm going to share another screen. And then for our second update, this is a forum led by the GCC COPSA, Breaking the Chains Decolonization and Climate Action Forum. And this will host 3 panels united with the themes of decolonize, demilitarize, and decarbonize. This will be on next week, October 29. And I will be sharing the tools that I use to mobilize, as well as what decarbonizing means to me. And this is in relation to Bill 213 and the implication it has by building a new fossil fuel power plant within 1,200 feet of Jose Rios Middle School and seeking an exemption from the provision 8119, Chapter 8, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated. So I'll be talking a little bit about how Bill 213, introduced by Senator Joe San Agustin, and the implications it has in regards to our schools and whatnot. Susan Masi.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. So that wraps up the updates and reports from the team leads. Are there any further questions or discussions that we have for any of the team leads?
Yeah, I think, Lauren, this is just for Kyle, and maybe I'll ask Stephanie. I don't see Lawrence Penning-Eaton in the room, but I'm sorry, but Lawrence, I do see, sorry, Lawrence Alcaro is on. Lawrence is from Clearinghouse, but he's also the coordinator for the Governor's Youth Council. So I wonder whether or not, Kyle, we can coordinate with Lawrence. He can make contact with you so you can engage the Youth Council, which is comprised of every high school, public and private, and the colleges, along with the Youth Congress. And I'll just say this. We've been talking about planning a youth summit in April and trying to see if we can have maybe a first engagement during the winter break or Christmas break, I guess. We don't have winter on Guam. This is part of the colonized curriculum, I guess. But anyway, during the, but I'd like to see whether or not, I'd like to activate, and there are some committees they created on both sides that focus in on sustainability, on climate change. So I'd love it if we could connect you with them. That's okay.
I think that'd be an amazing opportunity.
Great. Lawrence, so you'll go ahead and take care of that? Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone, to all the team chairs for your updates. And now we will give the screen over to G3 Associate Coordinator Rita Bernardo.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm happy and excited to share updates on our G3 dashboard. We have expanded the Healthy and Prosperous Community web pages. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen to give you guys a tour of what's been updated. All right, does everyone see my screen? Okay, great. Awesome. So I just also want to share that we did speak with the leads from HPC. So that's Mel Mendiola and Lola, as well as Dr. Ricky, to get more input before we, start building even more into the dashboard for that working group or for that team. And so that input has been included, but the updates that I'm going to share are not yet live on the live version. So this is the live version that I'm sharing right now. So I believe we can share a link in the chat for this live version if you haven't yet been able to explore it. But this is the live version. Nothing has been changed just yet. We are working to talk with the HPC point of contacts from the respective agencies that do collect this data, just so that we can confirm that this is reliable data that they can collect and that we can update, because we do want to make sure that these indicators here are data that is collected every year, so we can see year-over-year progress. And so with that, I will go ahead and share what's new on this dashboard. So this is the live version. And right now, there's no specific way to like click into this primary indicator or even into this web page, but you can navigate using the menu bar up here. So when you click this, you'll be able to go into healthy and prosperous communities. So I just want to show you what is on the live version so you can see the difference with what has been updated. So when you see the live version, you'll see the name of the category of action. You'll see the summary for that category of action, as well as the primary indicators. And then you'll also see the listed subcategories or focus areas, and then the related sustainable development goals. And so with that, I will now show you what has been updated. That's not been live yet, but I know that Lauren has shared the links for you to be able to browse on your own time as well in an email beforehand. So if you have them, it may not be a surprise, but since maybe some of the public is watching, they're able to see some of the difference, but this is not yet live. So this is the new proposed web page for healthy and prosperous communities. What has changed is, as you can see, there's more primary indicators, and I'll get into why we've proposed some additional ones. And what has been updated with this is that we've included, we've changed this color so that we can include a link that you can actually click on, so you can navigate to this web page. And then also, if you want to learn more about the primary indicators, you can also click on these so that you could go directly to that information. And then there's a way for you to navigate to the web page expansions for HPC, so zero hunger, good health and well-being, and decent work and economic growth. All right, so with that, I'll go ahead and share what zero hunger looks like. And this is the format. So you'll be able to read just off the top what are the primary indicators that, or even just the indicators that are going to be shared on here, like the information. And you could see that we're sharing just under zero hunger. We're actually updated this indicator. So this used to be the number of registered farmers, and that was a cumulative data point. It wasn't something that we could track year over year. So we updated it from using the Department of Labor's data on the people employed in the agriculture sector, so that here, when you click into this webpage, you can actually see the trend year over year of how this has changed over the last 10 years. And we're still defining what this goal is. So that's why there's that measuring status, so that we could see whether we're making progress by 2030. And so when you scroll down, you will be able to, read short snippets of this data. And then you'll also see more, graphs relevant to agriculture. So here you'll see kind of the breakdown of gender of agriculture farmers between males and females. You'll be able to see, the trend of average hourly earnings in agriculture, and then of course, read more into it. And then included under here, even though this is not directly relevant to agriculture, this is an additional indicator that can indirectly inform our goal to achieve zero hunger, and that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. It was formerly known as the Food Stamp Program. And so this is the program that provides benefits to supplement food budgets of people and families with little or no income. And so you can see here kind of the trend of over the last 5 years of people that are eligible for SNAP recipients, and how many people are receiving benefits per month. And we've also included here kind of what Austin has mentioned earlier in the meeting is our G3 Community Garden. Since that just has launched in August, we do have September data. So that's what you're seeing at this point. And you can read more information about our progress in this paragraph. And then towards the end of the web page, you'll also be able to learn more about additional progress that has been made, such as the bills that were passed relevant to agriculture, agriculture services that are provided under the Department of Ag, SNAP information, how there's a partnership with farmers to sell local produce to people who are receiving WIC benefits, and more information on how to get involved with local produce and the community garden. And so that's the layout that I do want to highlight, is that we are talking about all the indicators are mentioned up at top. And so when you scroll down, you'll be able to read more into it. So there's more depth, more information on the data. It's not just a number, and you can actually see the trend. And again, this is to really provide, not just track our progress, but to provide transparency and to also inform our policies and our programs that are existing or things that we can add to inform our progress and our collective action. And so with that, I'll also share good health and well-being. I won't go into too much depth, but I will highlight what's different with this webpage. So this is where we've included additional primary indicators. So initially we were only tracking infant mortality, tobacco prevalence, as well as total traffic fatalities. But with linking to the non-communicable disease strategic plan for 2019 to 2023, we've identified 2 additional primary indicators, and that's obesity as well as alcohol use, because those are also high health priorities. And then because we've had COVID and that's kind of been the focus for Department of Public Health, we thought it would be appropriate to also include the COVID-19 vaccination data here, and to be able to link the Department of Public Health's COVID dashboard and website over here. So you'll be able to read more information on that. And we're working to, make sure that we are thoroughly collecting the primary indicators that really tells us the story and the progress in monitoring the health of the community. So again, you'll be able to see the graphs, photos, and information that tells more information about all these graphs. And with that, I'm just going to scroll all the way down so you can see that there's also relevant links for people to learn more about the data that was shared and additional information that would help, as well as this is a great way too for people if they just want to either learn more or seek more information about the services, they could do that through here. And so this is not a very long list. So if you do have recommendations of additional resources that we may add, please feel free to let us know, and we're happy to include that. And then last but not least, we have decent work and economic growth. Again, it's that same layout. We're trying to have that standard layout of having the all the indicators that are mentioned on this webpage listed up at the top. And then you'll see that this is a new indicator that we included for this, this category of action, and it's tracking small businesses. We got this data from the Census Bureau. They do track small businesses on Guam, but this does include rentals and real estate. And that's an important thing to highlight because what we're looking at specifically for this goal is to increase innovative cottage industries and to really encourage that type of business on the island. We're working to see if we could get a POC from the Department of Revenue and Taxation so that we could get a little bit more in depth with the data to see the actual types of businesses that are on the island, and that we could share that more in depth so that we could track that progress. But you can see here, this is the number of small businesses we have on the island and employment as well. And we've also included here information on the Pacific Island Small Business Development Center, which is housed here at UOG, I believe in partnership with the the SBPA, University of School of Business and Public Administration. There you go. And then we've also included information on our circular economy, which we're pending data on once that space has been open to the public. And then we've also included our G3 commitment badge because this is a program that is not only for nonprofits, organizations, but it's also for businesses. And we did award 2 businesses in the last biannual meeting with I believe 2 of the SDG badges. And then again, you'll be able to see the resources. And so, yeah, so this is pretty much the updates for the web pages. These are all under the Healthy Prosperous Community dashboard. So we're hoping to expand more on these web pages for the following 4 categories of action. And so we just wanted to present and share. And I actually want to open it up to the working group and see if this is something you guys are interested in learning about at every steering committee meeting, because we're hoping in the next 4 months, we'll be rolling out each category of action and sharing updates. And if you feel that this is interesting to hear at every steering committee, or if it'd be best to just share it and update it with the respective team leads as we go. So yeah, I will open it up.
I think I'm going to go first and say, yes, we probably need to adopt this. And yes, it would be important. Actually, what I was going to suggest, and maybe Austin, you might join me. I think each of I would say that maybe take this next month for the different committees to identify the data sets that you believe should be our number one good indicators for you, but number two, that you need. And then we could, and what we can do, Rita, is we'll do an intergovernmental approach and come up with some good systems to get the information. For example, just even in healthy, in the first one, right? To me, indicators include, enrollment in Medicaid. It includes, the tracking, the temporary assistance to needy families and all the other entitlement / social net programs, right, that are definitely within this, that are affected by the pandemic and post-pandemic planning. So I would say that this is a big, big area that we want to embrace. And so that's my, I don't know, Austin, what your thoughts are, but maybe we can get Lauren to maybe come up with some sort of instruction to the different groups to conduct an activity or a committee meeting, identify the different data sets and what you can push through. Just thinking about infrastructure, public work has a whole lot of things that already can be pushed in from their traffic safety program, from the different engineering work that's going on, agriculture also with regards to aquatic wildlife, farm registration, all sorts of things. So I think my instinct is, yeah, Rita, this is a perfect method and perfect framework. And this is something I've been wanting to see for quite a long time. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Agreed, Lieutenant Governor. That sounds really good, and just want to say great job to Rita for working to revive to really upgrade the dashboard, and to Lauren as well. It's looking really nice, and we're getting lots more data and information. So this is really great to see.
Okay, any other questions, comments? I mean, Stephanie Flores also has a whole bunch of stuff coming in on the rate of federal expenditures, all the different, because there's a lot of indicators that various agencies have to submit for as part of their compliance reporting and everything. All right, Senator Regine Bisco-Lee.
Hafaday, thank you. And thank you very much, Rita and team, for providing this update. I was able to take a look at the HPC dashboard prior to the meeting. And so I guess 2 questions or maybe suggestions that I have really quickly. For the accompanying SDG below, when you scroll your cursor over SDG 8, for example, which is linked to our subcommittee, we should probably add additional partners to that, including Guam Community College and the GCA Trades Academy, just for decent work and economic growth. But then also I was looking at the metrics for these primary indicators. So for example, one of the primary indicators is traffic fatalities. And it says, there's a thumbs up and it's on track. So maybe there's some other language that we can use in terms of on track, because on track would be 0 traffic fatalities. I mean, that's, what our goal is. But I understand that on track will work for a majority of the primary indicators, but maybe we should just take a look at that and see if there's another way that we can get our message across in terms of what we're seeking, what our goal is, especially when it comes to traffic fatalities, infant mortality, those types of things. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Regine, for that feedback. So I do want to just say for traffic fatalities, if it's linked to the Guam Highway Safety Plan. And so there it's listed that they do have a number of how many traffic fatalities they'd like to achieve, which of course we ideally want 0. But just in terms of our comparison with other Region 9 territories, that we actually have a pretty high traffic fatality on the island. So I believe it's 13 traffic fatalities is our goal. So that's why it's listed on track, but definitely welcome your input on what might be a better way of saying like on track, or, you know, maybe better ways to just, you know, truly inform what exactly our progress is for that, just to make sure that, you know, our messaging is clear and it's definitely accurate and appropriate to what we hope to share to the public. So thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, the other thing, Rita, is do me a favor, and if you go to the Office of Public Accountability's website, you'll see that the agencies have a statutory mandate to submit a citizen-centric report. And sometimes they select data points to report on that are pretty good. So for example, the judiciary, it has to do with case management. Airport, it might be arrivals. Port, it might be cargo coming in. And I think maybe, why don't you take a look at that? And I think that might open the door for a whole bunch of other indicators for you to incorporate also. And you might be able to have some good ideas too. And it goes back previous years. So I think that's a pretty good effort. So Rita, congratulations, good work. We're gonna really have to try hard with Austin not to steal you somewhere. So I support your work.
We already offered her a job at Gita. She's leaving island.
Oh, Rita, no, don't leave the island. Not a good time. We'll have to talk offline. Or you better do some stuff through telecommuting. That's the whole new thing too. So keep your options open.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If the UOG Center for Island Sustainability wants to start a petition to get Rita to stay, I'll sign it.
Rita, we have cookies.
We could do that. We'll get an official Lieutenant Governor resolution, sir. You know,
we have cookies.
Well, we also do need Rita to get her master's and PhD, but the cookies are tempting there, Kyle.
All right, okay.
Gita doesn't
Hopefully
have
that'll
cookies.
work.
Okay? Gita doesn't have cookies.
All right. Any other? We're at time. Any other questions or comments for this month? If not, thanks for your attendance. Again, Lauren, if you could maybe in short order, just maybe collaborate with Rita and maybe give an instruction sheet to the different committees, that'll be great. And then Rita, if you can take a little dive on the citizen-centric reports, I think you're going to see some good information, including from the utility agencies, water production, et cetera. So excellent. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.